Welcome squad, my name is Akash from Thumbs Up Engineer. In this video we are going to see about data types in Java. Let's go. In Java we have two types of data types, that is primitive and non-primitive. In primitive we have two types, that is Boolean and numeric. Boolean will have a value either true or false. Numeric we have two types in that is character and integral. Character is nothing but it has a char value, that is it will take a of example like a b c d like that. Only one character will take, and there is another type integral. In integral we have two types, that is integer and floating point. Integer as byte, short, int, long. We will see byte, short, int, long, all the data types in brief. Before going that, let's see a floating point. Floating point as a float and a double. In non-primitive we have string, array, etc., etc. Which means we can have a class like that in non-primitive data types. Let's see in brief all the data types. Yeah, here the byte type as size of 1 byte, and it has a range from -128 to 127. The default value will be 0. For short we have 2 bytes of size, and the range will be -32,768 to 32,767, and the default value will be 0. For int we have 4 bytes and the range is given here. Then the default value will be 0. For long the size is 8 byte and the range is shown here, and the default value will be 0 capital L. For float type we have 4 bytes of size allocated to that, and we will have decimal values of up to 6 to 7 decimal digits, that is the values after dot will be 6 to 7, and the default value will be 0.0f. Double as 8 bytes. It is also a decimal decimal number, but here we will have up to 15 decimal digits after the dot operator. That's the difference between the float and the double. In float we have we can have 6 to 7, but in double we can have up to 15, and here you will be the default value will be 0.0t. Boolean as a size of 1 bit, and the values will be true or false, either true or false, and the default will be false. Character as 2 byte, and it can have a character or letter or ASCII values like that. The default value will be /u0000. Let's move on to the practical section of how to declare a data type variable and how to get input from it. Let's move on. Open Eclipse. Here I already typed the code. Here there is a class. In order to get input we have to create object for the scanner class. The scanner class will be in the package of java.util.scanner. In order to get input from the user we have to use scanner class. We can get input by creating object for that class, that is the scanner class name, and then object, new keyword, then scanner class, then system.in. The system.in will tell the console that you have to get input from the user. That's a user system.in. It's a parameter. Let's see the data types. Byte, it is a data type which come under integral. Integer, in integer we have a byte, short, int, long data types, and these are the variables I am declared here as a b, c, d for short, int, long. Now to get input as a byte value you need to mention next byte. To get a value of short data type you have to mention next dot short. In order to get input as int you have to mention sc dot next int. In order to get a long data type you have to long data value you have to mention sc dot next long. This is for integer. Then move on to floating point variables. In floating point variables we have two, float and double. I have mentioned E and F as a variable name here. Then for float we have to mention next dot float, and for double we have to mention SE dot next double. Next move on to the character. Here character we have mentioned a variable name of G and SE dot next. Basically SE dot next is used to get string values, but in order to get only one character we are using char at 0. Char at 0 will get one character at the index 0. That's the use of char at 0. If you remove the char at 0, it will get a whole string. That's the difference. Then we are mentioning a boolean, the variable name h, and SE dot next boolean, it will get either true or false value. Then I am mentioning the non-primitive data type, that is string str adds a variable name and SE dot next. As I said earlier, SE dot next will get the string value. Here we declared an array with type int and size is 100. Declared an array with type char and size is 100. In this way you can create for long, float, double, byte, etc. In order to get array of input from the user, we are using for loop to get input. Here we mentioned 0 to 2. It will take 2 values. Let run the code and see the output. I run the code. Now I am giving to, and now I am going to give the value 127. Short, for example 32,000. For int I am giving 255. For long I am giving 666. For float I am giving 3.3. For double I am giving 5.1. For char I am giving a. For boolean I am giving true. For string I am giving it printed the values. 127 is a byte value, 32,000 is a short value, 255 is a int value, 666 it is a long value, the next one is a float value, and the next one is a double value, and the next one is the string value. Now we are going to get the input for the array. We have to give two values because we have mentioned the size as 2 here, and giving 55 and 66. We have printed the output 55 and 66. In this way you can get input from the user by using all the data types that are mentioned here. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe our channel Thumbs Up Engineer.